Not shitting on your job previous, but
go for it.
It doesn't. No. I mean, not.
Fuck them.
Fuck them. I remember there being a couple of things.
Yeah, there's a couple bumps
that were like, no, they want this, and Greg going, all right, bring it in, and we do this thing, and it's like, and then Greg's like, nope, it's not gonna work. Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
You got paid.
Hell yeah.
$3.80 from Altria Group. They make cigarettes.
Gross.
Hey, but they'll pay me.
$3.80 for what?
Stock market.
Mm.
Altria Group, they do cigarette stuff. Hey, Mo.
Hey, Mo.
That's their ticker symbol, Mo.
Well, we're rolling. Hot mic.
Hot mic. Don't say anything crass.
Don't say anything I would say.
Like, don't be a Mexican.
That's it all. That's an oldie throwback.
That's a throwback.
Well, welcome to Sequel Podcast. I am Matt Bonta.
I'm Gregory Klino.
And I'm Cory Easley.
Cory Sneasley.
Sneasley. Because he does it so easily.
He sneezes so easily?
Yeah. That's how my lead singer used to introduce me in the band. This is Cory Easley, because he does it so easily. Back in the days.
I remember that band.
What was that band called?
Days 11.
Days 11?
Yep, Days 11.
Like D-A-Z-E?
D-A-Y-S, I think. I don't
Yeah,
think
we
they
had
spelled it with a Z.
we had one of the albums that we were listening to try and put in.
And we never
One
did
of the
use
movies.
any of the music.
Yeah, 'cause you guys are faggots.
I don't even remember what it sounds like.
It's,
Had a guitar riff.
It's era correct, like, alternative rock,
There's a guitar riff, song, another riff, the
Drums.
song.
singing.
Is this the first time I've had you two together on a podcast?
Yeah.
No, we did
We did Predator podcast.
We did a Not in the Dark.
Did we do Not in the Dark
podcast.
together?
Oh.
No, Predator was with Casey.
Oh, that was with Casey.
But we did do after, because you weren't involved in Not in the Dark.
Nope.
So I got you over to do podcasts,
Mm-hmm.
and I had Greg on for one to talk about even though he was only on one day for that movie. Well, here we go. This is this could be the last podcast
This could be.
that you guys do.
Yeah, we'll make sure that your remains are scattered appropriately.
I know. We need to stop making it feel like you're gonna die.
It kind of feels like that in a way.
I don't like that. It feels bad.
Well, my health sucks, so I could easily just drop dead.
You might.
Yeah, but if
we
you
all
drop
might.
dead, that'd be better than you, like, optionally leaving.
Well, some alternatives are better than others. I don't want to work at JCPenney's until I'm dead.
You should have left JCPenney's 10 years ago.
Yeah, but then I would just have to find another job that's exactly like the one I had at JCPenney's.
Yeah.
It would have been exactly like it though, but differently.
It in my mind, I had, all of my, which ultimately didn't matter at the end anyways, but like I had all of my experience and seniority and benefits from working my way up to the same position I started in.
Yeah.
But, I had all my vacation time and whatever else that I got and
Right.
experience.
Yeah, they,
So I didn't want to just go to another warehouse where I'm at the bottom, right? I
That's
had no aspirations to make a career in warehousing,
yeah.
right? Which is why I never applied for supervisor. There was one position I wanted, and the people in those were never going to leave, so I never got my opportunity there. I wanted to make movies, right? That was the next job that I was going to go to.
It's hard having that kind of a job, too, because it's like, I can't leave because what else would I do? But at the same time, it's still part of that American slavery system. We just call it
100%.
employment now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah,
You're
absolutely.
an employee, not a slave.
This was
It's
the
just a word
conversation
change.
that I was having with Ashley today.
Yeah. Well, and
Like,
it's
it's the facade of freedom.
it is.
Yeah.
And it's not different because, you know, not shitting on your job previous, but
Go for it.
it
Fuck
doesn't.
'em.
No, I mean not.
Fuck 'em.
No, fuck them.
What was that? A little taste of a character?
It's not different from where you were at in a warehousing position. And Greg worked in warehousing for a period of time.
Mm-hmm.
I worked in a warehouse for a period of time.
You
go
probably
from-
podcasted about your time.
I did.
I
think-
swore I would never work in a warehouse, and I was there for 6 years.
Yeah, I did almost.
Chump change, Greg. Chump change.
Yeah, that's a long timer.
Damn near 2 decades.
That's fucking
Dang.
wild. You didn't stick around for your 20-year plaque.
Well, look, hold on now. I got
How many plaques
on my
do you
10
have?
on my 10 like 2 on my because I got one for 5
Right.
and it was like a glass
I
square.
remember. And then the 10 was the same thing.
No, the 10 was a glass ruler.
Okay.
But they gave us a keychain that measured to 10. Like, it was a
Okay.
ruler that was 10. But then I picked a glass ruler out of a book of, like, you can get this jewelry or that jewelry. It's like, give me the glass thing, because I got the other glass thing, and I like glass things. Like, literally, I love those glass things.
Okay.
I'm 100% fine with that 10-year glass thing.
So, the difference it makes to go from quote unquote just a warehouse job where you're just stocking shelves or you're just, pulling
Picking
shit,
orders.
picking orders, I was just moving shit from one end of the conveyor to the other end of the conveyor. It seemed like all I did.
Yeah.
And then going to a, don't want to call it a skilled job, but a skilled job, a privileged job at a desk where you're providing some kind of service to internal employees and, helping the administration of the business run, right?
Mm-hmm.
The slavery doesn't change.
Oh, yeah.
It's the exact same feeling, and I think I get what you're saying, is I didn't want to leave one fucked up shitty warehouse job to go to another fucked up shitty warehouse job because it would have been just the same bullshit.
Their
And
foot's
only
still...
This
starting
one
at
was
0.
This
yeah,
one
they're
was
their foot's still pressing on your neck.
yeah, and it's the same boot,
Yeah.
right? And this one was close to home. It was easy to get to. You could fucking
Yeah.
walk there if you had to.
Yeah, and I did many times.
Yeah. And so that's a level of quote benefit. where it's
What
easy
is
for you
the
to get to
word?
work.
Comfort.
Yeah.
Right? We get comfortable.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And you get used to the things that you have comfort in, like where I'm at and what I'm doing. It's like I'm so fucking bored with the job I have because I can basically do it in my sleep.
Yeah.
The stressors and stuff that happen during the day, they make me bang my head on the wall and not want to do that work anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But the day-to-day grind stuff, it's like, do this, do that, turn this on, turn this off, try this, log out, log in.
Yeah.
Here, hang on, let me try something. It's all very much the same stuff, and the part of the job that I used to like was problem solving and figuring out new things, and that's gone away.
Because they're all the same problem.
Because it's all the same fucking problems with 500 different people every day.
Yeah.
Right? So it's not interesting, it's not cool, it's not fun.
Some new puzzles.
And so you have to either progress further down a rabbit hole, and if that's not your intended goal or your whatever your drive is, like for you is for movies, for Greg it may be production and cinema, and for me maybe acting or automotive creativity.
I don't want to say it out loud.
Those
Sucking lots of cocks.
that might be the deal, right?
There,
But you have to
trigger
have-
warning, there may be gay jokes on this
There
podcast.
might be
We're not allowed to make them, but...
our elder millennial near Gen X gay
yeah,
jokes.
we are grandfathered in from being
Yeah,
able
we're allowed
to
to say
make
shit like that. So it's not different from where you were at to where I'm at, where Greg's at. Actually, Greg's in a better place, I think, than all of us right now. Except the slavery exists of the fact that if he doesn't make money, he doesn't have a place to live,
Right.
or he can't feed his kids or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's not just about doing the thing that you love doing, because you would give all to put 80 hours a week into the thing that you want to
80,
do.
90,
Whatever, however many, like you would put days on end.
Yeah.
You would do
I
the
would
work
never stop.
without stopping doing the work, because you love doing the work.
I'm essentially doing that now with the writing and the editing.
So that's what sucks about it. You know, to not just sit around and bitch about having to go to work, but it's an endless cycle of if you don't, there's no choice. Yeah. There is no if you don't. If you don't is you have to figure out a different way to do it.
I'm trying to figure out adding ways to do it. So like having 3 or 4 different sources for the month, and that way I can not rely on a single one, or like one, gosh, this one sucks and I don't want to do it anymore. I can get rid of that and still be okay. Yeah,
it's like dividend investments. You don't have all your eggs in one basket.
Mm-hmm.
You've got, $3 here, $3 here, $3 there.
Yeah.
And if you have enough of those little nuggets laying around and they all play in and one goes bad, you throw it out and you get another one.
Yep.
You're not throwing out the baby with the bathwater if you have to quit your job altogether because, the opportunity to do something else interferes with that. Like, I dream about a day of getting cast in something somewhere where it's, hey, we need you on set 30 days.
Yeah.
Or till the end of the project. And it's like, okay, I can take time off to go do that.
Speaking of being cast,
how long could you take time off for?
Right.
Right? Or
that's
could
like
you
my
come back
friends
and have a job?
After college. I had a bunch of friends move to New York City, and I had nearly moved with them. I sometimes still regret not moving with them, but at least half of them, majority of them, are still
successful in their
just
plan.
Doing day jobs, not even being artists.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So it's like,
doing
I could go somewhere where art is everywhere, and art is like this epicenter of creation, but at the same time, like, it's so hard to live there financially that you get stuck in the grind, and you can't even be creative.
As we speak, Hollywood is burning.
Hollywood is burning.
Literally.
They might run to the hills.
They might run to northern Nevada.
They very well might be, or Vegas.
Vegas has really good plans for movies, studios. There's different people.
I'll believe it
really
when
interested.
I see it.
The word is, well, like that's with everything in cinema and movie business, is it's not going to happen until you're actually doing it. Like, you could have all these 4 different projects that you're excited to work on that are like 90% there, but you could end up not working on any of them.
That happens to us.
Yeah.
At our level. We go, we got this really great script, and we're reading the script with a cast in a room. Everybody's down. Everybody's excited. Like, how many times have you done that? My first time was Night Moves when we did it, and it was
Night Moves.
We had an 80-90% cast, and excitement and backup, and more people than we'd ever had work on a project, and then fell apart.
Yeah,
just didn't happen.
Yeah. And that's just the nature of the biz.
Yeah. But I didn't let it go, and we made Street Toughs eventually. So
that's a fact. So, do you think that there's any kind of realistic possibility that happens?
Yeah, I think, like, people are going to make art no matter what.
Sure.
And if they can't make it where they're at, they're going to have to go somewhere where they can, or they'll fizzle, and that creation will move on to someone else's ideas. So, like, if Hollywood's burning, for example, they could film in New Mexico, they could film in Atlanta, they could film in Toronto, New York City.
Well, I mean, Atlanta is a big place for filming.
Yeah, and the people that were local in Atlanta, when the industry came in and took over, those grandfathered in local workers were really beneficial and got a lot of benefits to that because they were already there. So, like, if people were to come to Northern Nevada, the workforce we have here, which is essentially pretty undertrained and not very experienced to the levels that they need. But the ones that are here have that great opportunity to benefit greatly from having a major studio come in.
When you have that in, because you live here, you don't have to relocate, you don't have to set back up, you don't have to uproot your family, your life, everything.
Yeah.
And that's, a lot of companies have that benefit of taking on the locals first, and they go, okay, fuck, we need more people, or we need more experienced people, and then they start going like this from outer areas.
And that's part of how they
curious.
get into a state, is that the tax incentives is the whole reason why a studio would come into a state for the most part.
And that is great for that.
And they're working on it. It's going to go back in session, I think, this next year. But part of the incentive is you have to have so much of your workforce be local. But if the studio doesn't think that the local workforce is trained well enough, then it's a catch-22.
I'm always curious, is there like some other random state that is doing what we're doing? Like, I think we have a reasonably sized independent filmmaking community here. We've talked about this.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know, up in Wisconsin, some random bumfuck town.
I think
does every state have like a little community?
It's got to. Like, with the way technology is so accessible right now for making movies, I can make an entire movie with what's in my pocket right now.
Right.
And it's
Where are
become
they?
so accessible to do that I think the indie film at any level is going to be present in any town in America.
You think so?
Yeah.
I concur.
I want to see the
From no
feature
budget
film that
to
came out
budget.
in Montpelier. What's that? The capital?
Montpelier?
Yeah, was it
Montpelier.
Montana or North Dakota or South Dakota or Idaho? Right. Where I want to see the feature that came out of Idaho. I want to see my counterpart
In other states.
in another state.
Yeah.
I want to see what they're doing.
Yeah, that'd be cool. And connect with them. Be like, hey, you want to be part of mine? I'll be part of yours.
You know, I had a crazy idea one time.
It'd probably be easier to burst those bubbles, those click bubbles, from people out of state than with people in your own city.
Well, we have the Facebook, like, Reno acting and filmmaker page.
Right.
Now, is there, like, one in every state? I thought it would be fun to
Gotta
reach
be.
out to every state and try to put something together and it encompass 50 states.
Yeah.
This is some weird idea I had, like, 5 years ago or whatever.
Back when Facebook was still popular.
Cory, you were in a thing that we never talked about.
I was in a thing?
You were in a thing we never talked about.
Okay.
That music video that you did.
Oh!
Because it dropped on
It
Thanksgiving.
did finally drop on Thanksgiving.
Did you see this?
I don't know if I did.
It's what was that kid's name?
Brent Tarpley?
That's not the... He
Well,
might
he
have
directed
He
it.
might have directed, but he was definitely on...
Well, he's the only person I know.
Yeah, he was definitely directing when we were on set. But it's William Owen? Yellow Umbrella Studios is the name of his thing.
Matthew Owens. Yeah.
Matthew Owens, that's it.
Yeah, the comedian.
Yes.
I grew up with a guy named Matt Owens.
Okay.
And so when I met the comedian Matthew Owens, I was like, that's not my
That's not the
friend
same
from
guy.
when I was 6 years old.
And it was a weird, definitely like the being on set with somebody else, people that I'd never worked with, made me feel better about how we do it, because it felt the same.
Oh, yeah.
It felt real. It's all hurry up and wait. It's like, we gotta get this put together. We're trying to get the lighting right. We're trying to get people lined
Like,
up.
they call industry standard procedures for a reason, because that's how you go through making
Yeah.
the thing.
You know, and
Yeah.
we were on set and getting set up, and everybody was
There
real
was some
cordial.
surprise actors in there that I didn't know also were involved.
Yeah, there was some other interesting characters.
Paul was in it.
Paul was there.
Did you know he was in it?
I saw the call sheet, a week or two before we actually went to set, and I go, Paul, and then I forget his last name,
Seafree.
his other last name, Don.
Oh, Paul Don.
Yeah.
Right, that's what on
So
his,
I hadn't
Facebook
seen.
or whatever.
I saw that. I've seen it on Facebook because we're obviously friends on Facebook, But then
Obviously.
I see
I'm watching it right now.
the call sheet and I see Paul Don, and I'm like, I wonder if that's Paul. Nah, couldn't be.
Mm-hmm.
And then, sure as shit, we're
How
hanging
did
out.
you stumble upon it? It was a Facebook post?
It was just a Facebook post on the Reno
Actors and filmmakers.
Guild. Yeah.
There's Wendy.
Oh, it was on Rag.
Yep.
Oh, so she's in that with him then?
Yeah.
Are they in the same scene together?
Not yet.
We don't sit next to each other at the table. We sit across from each other.
Who, like, there was...
Oh, there's Cory!
There he is.
That's the comedian who I've never met.
David.
Gamble.
Yeah.
Kim, there's Wendy.
There's Cory.
And there's Callan.
Yep, Callan was there. Paul comes in a little bit later.
Paul comes in at the end.
Oh, that's cool.
I don't know who
I don't know some of these
that
guys.
is. Who's...
Cool. I'd have to look at the call sheet. That'd be fun.
Yeah. So, it was...
Who plays the grandma?
I forget her name. She was fantastic. Ton of energy.
Jump to the end, Greg.
Okay. Yeah, I'll take a look at it.
But, yeah, it was refreshing to see that other people's methodology was very similar to ours. And trying things and having things fail and, trying to, for gags, right? You're doing a...
Was Kim playing your wife?
Yes.
Okay. She auditioned for the last thing I tried to get an audition going for.
Yeah.
For my Catwoman
'cause
script.
Everybody there was like trading socials and stuff and friending each other on everything. So we became friends on Facebook. So I see her post all the time about different stuff, and she shares different things from the community. But I saw that she liked that post that you put up for the auditions for that script, and I was like, But it was an ambiguous
How long was that?
audition. How long was it?
Yeah, like
Oh, it
what
was all
was
day.
the process?
The process, so regular call time I think was like 8:30, something like that. We honest start time for like actual
start doing anything?
rolling anything.
Yeah.
Fuck, dude, it was nearly 10 o'clock before we started actually rolling on anything. Because there was like makeup stuff that was happening, and then there was, they were trying to get the shot list together, and they were having some lighting things, and trying to
You
decide
know what I
where to
love?
start.
You know what I love? I love when I read about a filmmaker who's like, oh, I don't storyboard, I don't shot list. Right? Christopher Nolan does not storyboard or shot list.
Yeah, the video I was watching this morning that I shared with Cory, he was talking about how when he was working on the Bob Dylan biopic, he let the actor, Timothée Chalamet, he let him block the scene himself as the actor moving around the
Do you know what
space.
you're saying?
The movie.
Okay, the whole movie.
Yeah, and he allowed himself to put the camera where the actor was moving on their own.
Okay.
And so it
So
wasn't
telling
shot
him what
listed,
to be.
it wasn't storyboarded.
Wow. That's cool.
Yeah. And he talked about in the interview with Potato Jet about how sometimes he would sit in the corner of the room that it doesn't look all that great for lighting, but he'll make it work,
I watched a movie today that you should watch, and maybe you too. And it's a movie about making a movie.
Okay.
And it was fantastic. I loved it so much. It's called Living in Oblivion. I believe it's on Tubi. Or I have it, because I watched it. On Peacock. I think it's on Peacock without any commercials. But I do believe it's on Tubi with commercials.
Living in Oblivion?
Living in Oblivion. And it's like... The movie opens where the action of what's happening is in black and white, and then when they roll film on the scene...
Is this the Steve Buscemi one?
It is. But he's in two. He's in two movies about making movies. But yes, it's a Steve Buscemi one, and they're making like an independent, like low budget movie, and it's 100% like, oh my god, this is what it's like.
Gosh, I think this is the one that they use as B-roll on some of the YouTube videos I watched. I've always wondered what it was. Living in Oblivion.
I will watch it because I love Steve Buscemi.
He's the director,
So
right?
he's not in it.
He's playing the director of the movie that they're making.
I got you.
So he's the lead.
Oh wow, there's a lot of people in this.
There are a lot, like a young Dermot Mulroney plays the DP, right? He's playing Greg in that movie.
He's playing Greg. Maybe one of these days.
But he's like, I want to do a handheld, and he's like, no. I want it on the fucking dolly. Leave it on the fucking dolly. It's like, no. I want to go handheld. I want to go.
Gosh, I see this in the BTS of one of my favorite YouTube channels. I'm blanking the name on. And I've always wondered what it was.
I finally watched it. I've known about it for a while, and I finally watched it. But they're like, the actor is like, I was thinking instead of maybe doing the walk around, what if I just like lay down on the bed and I talk to her from here? And the DP is like, sure, that's fine, but I've got to light that differently now. All right, we're taking a 10-minute for lighting change. Taking a 10-minute. Everyone take a 10-minute.
In-depth scene.
Like, it's fantastic. I loved it. It'll give you flashbacks of being on set of a movie.
Yeah.
Like,
I love movies like that. Like the, what was the movie?
State and Maine.
About making the George Orwell one.
1984.
No, not, what's his name? Orson Welles.
Oh, RKO 281.
RK281. Yeah.
Yes, because I showed you when they're... Yes. No,
yeah.
That's
I love those kind of movies.
Fantastic.
I love those.
State and Maine, The Stuntman. I love movies about making movies because you feel like, I get it.
Well,
yeah.
Especially coming from a place where you are making movies, and... I don't know. I always try to relate what we're doing to Hollywood, right?
Sure.
Without shitting on what we're doing.
Yeah.
Because...
Well, you like to talk about, like, the garage band version. Like,
yes.
we're the garage band of filmmaking.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah. I like that analogy.
And I think that effectively we are, because garage bands are where our A-list bands come from. A-list bands were garage bands.
Metallica.
I had a question about this, not to break the thought, but like,
yeah.
Are there still garage bands out there?
That's yeah, dude.
Yeah,
that's
every band
really.
Starts.
That's where they start. You don't.
It seems like everything's like pop and manufactured now, or
even those groups start recording in an office just like this one with like gear, just like you have.
Music, sure.
And they're, the need for a studio to record in has, like Greg was saying, has diminished because the availability of the technology is so widespread now.
There was a garage band at Nomar's birthday party that I went to. They were handing out CDs.
Yeah, and that's
Meanwhile,
what you do.
Here I am. There you go. Not in the Dark, Midnight Bloodshed. Who wants a copy?
Watch my movie.
It's so the same. Because
I think
I was in a garage band.
Yeah.
Right?
Look at that.
Is it a sticker from the garage band?
Yeah, it's a sticker from the garage band.
Closed Curtains. That's a cool band name.
Thick Sweaty Curtain. Was the name of another garage band.
I would love to have seen or listened to Metallica when they were still only touring their hometown.
Yeah, I mean,
sure.
Although I like their current stuff the best. But.
That's where it was real. It was real thrash metal back then.
Oh yeah.
It was real dirty. It was like, and that's how it is, right? Like, you take one of our movies and love the story, love the shot composition, direction, the things. There's a level of finish and polish that we don't get for not having all of the super duper high end equipment, or a guy that's been editing film for fucking 50 years.
Yeah, or someone that's been shooting it for 50 years.
Exactly. So like, we're doing the best we can with what we have in the space that we're trying to play in.
Yeah.
While doing exactly what Hollywood does, and what, like you were saying, you love watching those movies about making movies because when you watch it, you see yourself. you go, fuck, I remember that one time me and Greg were doing the thing, or we were on this set, and this happened with the thing, and me and Greg, man, we were fucking at each other's throats that day. Because that shit happens. That's fucking real life, dude. And the magic moments when you're shooting something and you don't mean for it to happen, and then the two actors that are doing the scene, and the way the shot lines up, and the way the dialogue comes off, and then it just cooks off into something magical.
Dude, there's been so many times where, even when we're just sitting in the edit, we drop something into the timeline, and we're like, that's perfect. We didn't even try. It just was kismet.
Yes.
That's right.
Yeah.
Kismet.
Absolutely.
Serendipity.
Yeah. I watched Serendipity last night.
You would.
I liked it.
I like Serendipity too. But I'm a big John Cusack fan.
Yeah.
So,
being the garage band film producers that we are.
Yeah. It's such a good analogy.
It took me a long time to...
Greg's like, man, I've never heard that before. What is the movie? Hold on, sorry, not
to derail what you were saying.
No, I know. Again. No, Brian. What's the? Why him? Did you guys see Why Him? The James Franco.
Brian Cranston.
Yeah.
No.
And Brian Cranston will say like famous sayings, and James Franco will be like, "Oh, did you just make that up? That's amazing." And he's like, "No, it's like a famous."
Dude,
adage.
I make quotes and references all the time, and I'm old, but a lot of the kids I work with,
you're a baby compared to me and Cory.
They don't get it.
They don't get it.
They don't. Get it.
I send people with home.
Did you drop the Skibbity Ohio toilet riz on them, Greg?
I do, but I'll send people home from set with homework all the time. Like, you need to watch this, so you can understand my reference from 2 days ago.
Source material, please. Here you are.
Yeah. But it took you a long time to realize.
It took me a long time to realize, and Matt and I have talked about this at length, but what I just said is being the garage band film producers that we are. Because effectively that's what we're doing, right? We're producing film.
Yeah.
And saying that, it took me a long time to get to, that's what we are.
Mm-hmm.
We are producers. We are directors and DPs and cinematographers and actors. And for the last, I don't know how many years we've been doing this together and and before doing it together, but I know Matt's been making stuff for on the order of 20 plus years now. And I jumped in a ways after that.
Halfway.
But now I've been doing it for nearly a decade.
And that's one of the similar things. Where at that level, you have so many people that want to create art for the sake of the art. And they want to just get better at it. Mm-hmm. They're not there to perfect it. They're not there to earn money from it. Nope. And it's just like doing community theater. Community theater,
you're there because you love it.
You're there because you love it. It just certainly plateaus at a certain point, but you are doing something that you really, really want to do, no matter what.
So, my analogy that I made with Matt some time ago now was that I stopped saying stuff like I want to be an actor.
You are an actor.
I am an actor.
So,
and I think it was when I made that distinction in my mind was when I did Shark.
Yeah.
At the theater, and it's community theater, but it's art.
What was that?
It's acting.
What did you just do?
I did the hand-on motion.
But Shark, not to toot my own horn, I freaking loved Shark.
It came out really
every
fun.
Single time I watched it, from rehearsals, just doing scenes, to watching you guys perform it.
I loved hearing your stories. I loved hearing you guys talk shop.
Yeah, and that was the first main stage production of a play I've ever directed. And it was so fun because I got to be me as a director. I didn't get hindered too much from the production staff. The writers had some specific ideas that they wanted to be put through.
I remember there being a couple of things.
Yeah, there was a couple bumps
that were like, no, they want this, and Greg going, all right, bring it in, and we do this thing, and it's like, and then Greg's like, nope, it's not going to work. Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
That's not what he said on set.
Right. But it was so fun. And like having that level of control where you can be yourself, but at the same time, there's that whole idea of it's so lonely at the top, right? And like there's that
at the top. I haven't thought about
distinction between the director and the actors, the production staff, the writers. But man, goodness, I loved watching it every single night. And not just because it was a stupid show that I added all kinds of dumb humor to.
I stalled you a couple times when you had performances. I'm sorry, Greg.
Yeah, but it was like...
Because you were also making If Tomorrow Never Comes at the same time
as
mounting the production for Shark.
Yeah, and just having something that you could watch over and over like you do with your movies is just like, oh, this is so much fun. And I'm getting to do this. I'm not getting paid to do it, but I'm getting to do what I love. And it is such a pleasure every single time I'm here. It's a part-time job, without compensation. Besides the...
gratification,
enjoyment, gratification. Yeah. The... whatever it's called. And that's what kept me coming back. Because I remember the first show I did...
Matchmaker?
Where the director did not stay throughout the run of performances. I was like, what? The director's not hanging around for all the performances? That's so weird. And then that became the norm, because that is the norm. Like, it's the actor's show now. The director has no more control. And then occasionally you get the director to come in and give you notes mid-run, and you're like, dude, get the fuck out of here.
It's like, yeah.
I had a buddy.
We're not doing that.
I was in a show where the director came and gave notes at intermission.
Ew.
And one of the actors flipped out.
Really?
It was community theater, but...
Well, hold on. Okay, let me ask you about this then. All right. So...
And that's something that I made sure I never did with these guys. Like, I would come down
I get your point.
into the dressing room a couple times, but...
But was this like a director during the directing portion that was like you liked?
I got along with him once I understood him. The community has a hard time understanding him, so I think that's why a lot of people in the community don't like working with him.
Okay. Because I was just going to say, like, was it, like, could a director that was respected and was liked come in and be like, hey...
No, because I think part of that comes with that level of respect back towards the actors that you just don't
Once you've gotten
do that.
to the show...
Like, if it's falling apart, that's one thing. If it's completely falling apart, that's a whole nother thing.
Like, and noises off. What the fuck is going on?
But
missing all the
it's
cues,
like...
forgetting all the props.
I had a director a long time ago that would tell us on opening night, hey, this is your show now. This is not mine. Like,
Train has left the station.
Yeah, like, I raised you, I taught you how to be a human, and now you get to move out and do this on your own, and this is your show. The stage manager, like, if I need to, if I watch a run of performance, and I can go to the stage manager, then the stage manager can then relay some things, some suggestions.
But it's not direction at that point.
It's not direction.
That's like, hey, pacing, like, keep the pacing up, right?
Right.
And the stage manager can go, okay, well, we can work.
And that's
technical. Do stuff like that. That's technical stuff, right?
Stuff.
I remember.
But we're sorry
on See How They Run. When I was in See How They Run, during a rehearsal, there's supposed to be like some shit going on in the background, like Cory and Brandon, not this Cory. And they did like a sword fight with like a plunger and a broom or something. And Mathew's note was like, no sword fighting. And then they did it on the final night, I think it was.
So it was on Friday night.
And Matthews was up in the booth, and he said something like, what the fuck was that? Or something. I remember hearing this story from Jeff or whoever it was.
Yeah.
What about in that kind of scenario where you're doing the play, right? And the director has, like, this is how we're doing it. These are the notes. We've set out how this play's going to be done. As it group.
At that point, it's disrespect on the actor's part for
doing it anyway.
Because they are disrespecting what you've created.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it's...
And I would do a Mathew, just throw the book at the wall and pace the back of the theater.
Sure.
I there was a couple times in Shark rehearsals where I
remember hearing the stories.
let myself get ticked off, but I was at least from my perspective, try to use that as a tool to get someone's ass in gear.
Sure.
I think you were so chill as a director the whole time that when you did have to get fired up a little bit, it was earned.
Yeah.
It was appropriate, measured response. And you didn't fly off and cuss anybody out. You didn't go over the top and make anybody cry. Like, when you got to the point where, like you said, you let yourself get fired up about something, it was because the fire needed to be lit. It was like, look, okay, we're starting over. I remember the first night I saw it, we were, already through all the blocking and we were running through everything, and we were like on full run-throughs, maybe 1 week out or something, and it was like, we got all the way through the first act, and I don't remember if you came out and you're like, if we did the second act and then we did it all again, or if we just went through the first act and was like, nope, fucking trash, start over. It is not what you said, but the effective message was, I don't know what you guys are doing tonight, but this is not what we've been doing, and this is not what I've seen you do. Like, it was more of a, I'm disappointed because I know you're better.
Right. So Greg is justified. What was the problem on your guys' end, do you think?
Comfort. You get to a point where you start, you're doing this thing and you're doing it every night, and you're doing it 3, 4 or whatever nights a week, and then it starts out really fun and really nuanced and everything's good, and then you get to the part where everybody knows their lines for the most part and everybody's got their cues, and you get a little bit comfortable, right? Mm-hmm. And then you start fucking up a little bit, or you fuck off a little bit.
Sure.
And
that's a natural progression of the rehearsal process.
And you get to where you're like, okay, we got this. Like, why isn't it better? It's like, well, because we're not making it better. We're not hitting cues. We're not keeping the pacing. We're not, and there's technical cues that are missing. So we're still faking some of it before tech rehearsal and stuff. So,
and even though that was such a quote dumb show, that style of comedy requires a very specific pacing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, everything, all
comedy is not easy.
Yeah.
All the things had to punch together at the right time, otherwise you missed it. And if you missed it, it wasn't funny anymore.
And then it slowed down, and then you're just watching a bunch of people be idiots.
Yeah. And
that's
what it looks like, too. If you miss it, you just looks like a bunch of fucking kids running around the stage being stupid.
Yeah.
But after that night, we really got serious.
Yeah.
And we're like, oh.
And I thought it was a very successful show.
And then...
Did you guys conference as actors without Greg around about the situation?
Yeah. I don't know if that was the same night where... I think it was.
Maybe early the next day.
Somebody who got involved at that point, who I don't think had a place getting involved at that point, piped up while Greg was literally talking to us. Like, we were, sit down for notes, right? Take a knee. Greg was standing down in front of the stage, and we were all sitting on the stage. And we're all ha-ha thinking we're funny. Okay? And Greg fucking drops the dad voice on us, and he's like, I don't know what you guys are doing. Like, this is not the show that we've prepped. This is not, we're this many days out, tech rehearsals in whatever amount of time. And I don't remember exactly what you said, but basically, I'm not going to field this. I'm not going to premiere this. Whatever this is trash. And it was like, oh, and he didn't say this is trash, because he wouldn't have said that. But he did express his disappointment.
Yeah.
And there were some long faces on the stage, and some just looks on people's faces that were like, fuck, he's right.
Yeah.
And the person that piped up was kind of trying to back Greg. I think it came
And
from
playing
a place
bad
of,
cop on purpose.
Yeah, I think it came from a place of positive or negative reinforcement.
I hate negative reinforcement so much.
And it came from what you might call a good place, like the good intention. The way it came off, I feel like was super rude, and it was disrespectful to us, and to command respect to Greg. It's like when your dad's,
Greg was doing enough.
Your dad's
on his
telling
own.
you, look, we don't do this, we don't do that. You don't talk to your mother that way. And then your mom is crying in the other room, and your older brother, who's not in trouble, comes in the room and says, "Yeah, you fucking listen to what Dad has to say, you little son of a bitch." That's what it felt like. It felt like somebody that was like, well, who the fuck are you?
Right.
Because the people that, like myself, that hadn't been in the theater frequently, I didn't know who the fuck she was. I didn't know what her name. I couldn't remember her name because I only met her like twice. I didn't know what her job title was. I didn't know nothing about her. And I'm like, I don't know who the fuck this bitch is, but she should probably step someplace. Now, I get what she was doing.
Right.
And if she ever hears this podcast, it's not a direct dig at her. I just think it was out of place.
Sure.
And not necessary, because we were already like engaged in the thought process of, yep, we fucked up and we need to do better. And we went downstairs and there was some crying. Literal people went down. Like, you're talking about fucking adults, dude. We went downstairs, and I said there was long faces everywhere. Everybody was resetting their costumes and their props and shit, getting ready to go again, because Greg was like, we're going to restart, take 10, 15, whatever it is, and on the nose, we're going to go again. And that was like probably a third or better of our time that we normally would be there. So the third to half of our time that we would have been there that night through, and we were going to reset. So we were going to stay longer that night than we had ever stayed, because we fucked up and we had to run it again. And we had a time slot we were shooting for the amount of time on stage, so that it would stay together and that it wasn't a super long run time and all that. There were some of the cast members were very upset and crying down in the basement when we were getting all our shit reset. And we talked, there's patting on the back and like you hugging it out and stuff. And it's like, and we talked about it, and we had our little family time again before we started, and the general sense of comments that came out of those people, even though we're crying about it, were like, "Not mad at Greg. Greg didn't fuck up.
Right.
Greg let us know that we fucked up, and we're disappointed in ourselves,
Right,
as much as we should be, and that hurts." Just like when you're a kid, you're not crying because your dad yelled at you. You're crying because you disappointed your dad or your mom or whoever, right?
Right.
That's the feeling you don't like. You don't like disappointing someone that you look up to. And we all very much looked up to Greg the whole time. I mean, it was very, very pleasant to work for and with.
Good captain running the ship.
Absolutely. And
there's so many things that went wrong behind the scenes with that too, because there's ideas, promises, and wants throughout the whole process that just started falling off as we went along. Like 5 days before we opened the show, I was like, okay guys, go ahead and start bringing in your own clothing if you want to bring something more to your costuming.
Yeah, we had no prop.
Our
your budget.
Our
costume department
quit out or something. I don't know what happened.
Wasn't able to deliver on a couple of ideas. And it could be budgeting, could be time, commitments, and restraints, and all that, but they never effectively communicated to me those issues. And so, before we opened, I was like,
I saw the show.
Stopped, and so it's now on us.
Yeah.
Hooper looked like Hooper in the movie. Quint looked like Quint in the movie.
That was mostly personal items.
That was all their own clothes except for a couple of...
Brody looked like Brody from the movie.
Yeah, there's a couple of pieces on the clothing, but for the most part, it was personal clothing. And there was a couple of really great pieces, like the girls in bikinis wore printed bikini t-shirts, which I thought was hilarious. I had one actor that refused to wear one because they wanted to wear an actual bikini. I was like, no, wear the freaking printed t-shirt bikini because it's funny. I'm not hiding anybody's skin. I just think this is funny.
Right, right.
You know?
And it is.
It is
funny.
Yeah. And one of the guys wore one too. And it was funny. One of my favorite things about the whole process was the curse of the shark. In the actual movie Jaws, right. Bruce the shark,
it's never working.
It messed up because they're all of a sudden they're in salt water instead of fresh water, and it broke the shark, right? And so they changed it, the whole idea, to where you didn't see the monster, and that the whole idea came from, oh, it's scarier because you don't see the monster, and that's kind of one of the origins of that, and it just came from a mechanical failure. And ours, this whole time we're working on this idea of having a big ass shark costume, like, you know, a great white that eats people, that big, on stage, and it didn't come. It kept not coming, and so I started just blocking the scenes as though we weren't going to get it, because we weren't getting it. And it ended up being hilarious. I had this big guy, Nick.
It was way funnier.
Oh, yeah. I had this big guy, Nick, and they sewed tiny little shark fins and stuff to a sleeping shirt, and he wore that. Because I started blocking him as just himself, instead of wearing this big-ass mechanical costume. And it was hilarious. And he was doing wrestling moves. He was flipping off the audience because he's Bruce the Shark. And then when we finally did get this burner-style, like Burning Man-style shark costume.
I saw that shark.
I was like, this isn't going to work. It doesn't even fit in the theater. It wouldn't even get down the hallway to the stage.
We couldn't get it off the stage enough.
Yeah.
The wings that we had. We couldn't get it off the stage enough.
It's too big.
Too big.
And we couldn't get it out of the theater enough to put it anywhere.
And then the first time I laid my eyes on it, I was like, that ain't gonna work. Let's get rid of it. And I said it that night. I was like, this isn't gonna work. We should get rid of it. And then that's when the producers, the writers were like, we really want it to happen. We really want this in the show. See if you can make it happen. They didn't even say see if you can make it happen. They said make it happen. And I was like, okay, I'm going to let a rehearsal go by with us using this big ass prop, really, not a costume. And it completely killed the energy.
It derailed the whole second half of the movie.
There's a whole idea of working with something for the first time, and it takes a minute to get used to, but that wasn't part of it. We just could tell that it was not going to work out. I was like, guys, we're gonna have to cut this idea. We're gonna have to cut this shark. And there's a lot of long faces from the production staff. They were like, oh, we wanted this. We paid this artist to make it, and it was like a big part of the budget. And I was like, it's just not gonna work out. Sorry. And they ended up putting it in the lobby for the run of the show, which I thought was fine. It's like, at that point I was like, I don't care about this shark. It's cool in the lobby, fine, whatever. But it's not going in my show.
We have that in film.
Oh yeah.
I mean, when we make movies, from the script,
sometimes it doesn't work.
Sometimes the story and what's in the script, it looks great on paper, and then you start putting it together in person, you're like, this kind of kills the vibe a little bit, or it's not possible, or it's not feasible, or
that was just last night when I was watching Serendipity with my girlfriend. At the end of the movie, I go back and oh, there's bonus material. Ooh, deleted scenes. Let's watch the deleted scenes because I'm a filmmaker and this is fun for me. And we started watching the deleted scenes, and they weren't just deleted additional scenes. You could tell that they were their original
scenes.
They were their original scenes they shot that they went back, probably after a test audience, rewrote and reshot entire scenes. And my girlfriend was like, who'd watched this movie for years, was like, I don't like this because this is a different version of the movie that's not my movie. And I'm watching it having never seen it before, and like, okay, I could see why they cut this from the movie and then reshot it. But as that idea of like, okay, it's not working.
Change
The
it.
the original writer probably was like, oh, it's supposed to be like this, but test audiences, whoever, whatever reason they had for cutting it out of the movie and then reshooting it and after a rewrite, yeah, made a stronger movie.
I was watching, and this is not the same thing, but I was watching. This is how I watch movies now. Den of Thieves, since the 2's out now.
Yeah.
Have you guys seen Den of Thieves?
No.
Really? I figured you would have seen it. You're a big Gerard Butler guy.
Yeah, I've been off of watching movies for the last year just because of time commitment stuff.
This movie's
You do
from
have
2018.
bigger family now.
Yeah. It's hard for me to sit down and watch a film because it has to happen after everybody else goes to bed.
I have not watched as many TV shows of mine now that I've been living with my girlfriend and my bonus girls.
Oh yeah, no, there are movies that I don't watch anymore. On Thanksgiving, I wanted to watch Pink Flamingos and Gummo, and Rose was here. There's no way I'm gonna watch a John Waters movie with Rose. There's no way. I know you guys don't know John Waters, but I was telling my sister this. I was like, it'd probably be grounds for divorce if I put this movie on with her around. She'd be like, what the fuck is this? This is not a real movie. But I was watching Den of Thieves, and there's a shot where Gerard Butler's, they're the one dude's at the desk, and he's like, give me the Pepto-Bismol. And as he's saying that, I see the Pepto-Bismol on the front end of the desk, and the dude goes into the drawer, and then they cut away, and then he's got the Pepto-Bismol. And I'm like, I bet you anything that they went to go do a reset to do another take, and they forgot to put the Pepto-Bismol in the drawer for him to take out. Mm-hmm. Because it's sitting on the desk, but he's doing his blocking to grab it out of the desk. Mm-hmm. And then they cut away, and he's, then they cut back, and he's drinking it.
It's funny when you can miss shit like that.
They were probably, they shot the scene, and then they just forgot to put it back in for the next setup.
And then someone along the way probably said, if someone notices this, we made a good movie.
Look, kid, it's not that kind of movie.
But I look at everything.
Yeah.
All right. And it doesn't take me out of it, because I still enjoy a movie, but
Sure.
I do think, I wonder if they did this and that, and this was the actor's choice, or this was the director's choice, or...
Every so often, I'll be watching a movie with my girlfriend, and I'll look at her and be like, do you think they planned that, or do you think that was a happy accident?
I say that all the time. I bet you this.
Yeah.
All the time now.
Yeah.
I do like watching some, review, recap YouTube channels where they talk about movies, and they're like, did you know in this movie, this person did that, and it was totally not in the script, but they kept it anyway?
Yeah.
And it's I could see that because sometimes we have stuff like that happens, and it's nope, that was awesome. That was a great fucking take. I don't give a shit what else happened.
That's where
That's
live
the one we're
theater
taking
comes
it.
into the movies.
Yeah.
You go to see live theater because it's different every night.
But now we don't care. It's well, yeah, of course, that's how, things happen. And you need to be with somebody. It's they drop a trivia on you, and it's oh, yeah, it's cool, I guess.
I was watching Lord of the Rings with my girlfriend last week, and there was so many moments where I wanted to say, oh, did you know that? I was like, no, we're
Nobody cares.
enjoying a movie.
Yeah.
We're just watching it, and I love this because I'm a nerd.
Yep.
Man, making
Well,
movies, guys.
it's my favorite thing to say on set, especially with the younger actors or people that we haven't worked with before.
Oh, I'd like to talk about this.
Specifically when we're in one of my spaces, is, stick with the scene. When we're rolling and you're playing the scene, stick with it, stay in character. So if it breaks, it's already broken. Please continue. Let's get the shot. Because if you break something in my house, I don't care. Don't stop because now it's broken already. Mm-hmm. If you stop and it's broken, and you go, oh fuck, I'm sorry.
Well, didn't I have this speech with them at the read-through? I said, guys, my biggest thing is stay in character in between the lines, right? Don't go...
Don't stop.
Don't, if someone else is talking, don't just lose your character. Remain in character and just be... And, I'm watching the footage with, Amber and Angel with the masks on in the garage. And Amber is, she is in character that entire time. She's doing stuff. She's making faces. I'm like, man, I didn't know she was doing that in that scene and that take. Like, it's so funny, and I love it, and I let her know, like, hey, you know, great job, I really appreciate that. But another thing, you know, so for the people who are listening, to stamp this, we're shooting a Christmas movie, where I finish on Sunday, actually. But Cory, I loved when you were talking to Nomar and Sierra about being in a relationship. Like, I love when you do this every so often. Whenever I have you around, you'll talk to people.
It's not direction.
I try not that, and I know what you're talking about when I did that. I try desperately not to step on toes from a direction aspect.
Well, I'm doing a million things, and Greg's doing a million things, and he's got stuff to say, and I've got stuff to say, and we're all just trying to. Actors can say to me whatever they need.
And it's great in that moment because I was worried about lighting and camera.
Yeah,
and I was I don't have to worry about
sound.
anything but lighting and camera right now because Cory's got this.
And I was working on sound, but we're shooting a very emotional scene. And, you know, Cory took the moment and the time to go and talk to these young actors about being in a relationship. I loved. Do you remember your speech?
Not the whole thing, but I remember.
Look, hold on. Okay, this is what I remember hearing. Do you remember what you started off with? I would love for you to start and try and get it again.
I said, have either one of you ever lived with a significant other?
Right.
With another person?
Right.
And they're like, well, yeah. And it's like, have you ever...
And Sophie was there too. Sophie was over there
Sophie
too with
was
you.
standing there. And I got deep.
I
wish we had been rolling.
I so wanted Greg to fucking run camera on that.
I would love to have seen what I said.
But I didn't. I was going to tell him to, but if I said it, we were close enough that I thought it might
probably not
put a speed bump. I was
so like into. Like,
but go into it. Go into it. I love this so much.
You know. So I was trying to make it a conversation because I don't want especially the younger actors, I don't want them to feel like I'm talking down to them. I tried to...
Right.
We're all actors. We're all on set. We're all working together.
You're doing scene, like, script study.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was scene study. It was character building. And I said, you know, have either one of you lived with a significant other or with a, boyfriend or girlfriend? And this is, a young man and a young woman. And they're like, well, yeah. And I said, well, have you ever gotten into a fight with them? I'm like, well, they weren't real sure, I guess. Like, I guess you don't know if you've been in a big fight unless you've been in a big fight.
Yeah,
sure.
Until you knock down, drag out.
And I have. And I said, have you ever gotten so mad at somebody that you wanted to leave? Like, just not leave them, but leave the house, leave the room, go out the door. And you want me to go all the way with it?
Yeah.
I don't remember much of it.
No, let's talk about it.
And I said,
we're putting this on wax, man.
Your character is on a mission. I said, from a man's perspective in this scenario, I said the man has a vision of what the problem is that he can fix, because biologically men fix problems. Men want to mend things, no matter what it is. Even if it's shit that we can't fix, we want to fix it. We want to come up with an idea that might fix it.
Yeah.
And women want to take care of things. They want to nurture, and they want to snuggle and hug and pat and kiss and to make better things. But to be emotionally and physically supportive immediately to the people around them. Guys see past that. They see through that. They only see the problem and how to fix it. So guys will, like, wall off that emotional response that a woman will have. This is not supposed to be misogynistic. It's like, it's general and generic of biology. It's how people react, whether they want to or not. And I have done this. My wife and I have been through this similar fight. And I said that a child is both of your everything. Your only child.
Let's not spoil too much here.
Is your everything. And I said, and when in a situation where the problem is with that child and the father sees, well, if I do a thing, I can do this thing to fix a thing.
I'm going to start crying.
I cried. I wish
you
that's
got choked
why
up. You got choked
I got
up.
there, and I kept going a little bit, and I started leaning into it a little bit because I wanted them to see it. And I said,
So good.
the wife or the mother sees the whole of the thing that's going on with the child, and all she wants to do is protect the thing. She knows she can't solve it. She wants to protect the emotional state of the child and preserve the the sanctity of that family unit, and she will do that by keeping things together, keeping people close to fix that problem, that emotional state problem. So guys see things differently. A guy will be like, oh, I see X problem. Well, if all I have to do is drive 3,000 miles in one day and drive all the way back and bring this thing or do this thing for a person and solve X problem, then we're good. Never mind, he's been gone for a week while this thing at home is happening, and the mom now is dealing with it by herself and the child, and everybody misses daddy, and right. So there's a whole different mindset of these people. So I'm trying to help them see like why the one character, the father character, will just leave in this situation. When you're looking at the whole thing, and you go, why is he leaving? And why the mother, and what I wanted from her was to play it a little hotter, from a more emotional perspective. I said, because you're not just letting him go. You're not just like, well, be back for dinner. You're very upset at him because he is leaving when you need him, but he doesn't see that. So that's where the two people don't see the same thing. They don't see the same problem the same way. And I don't know. I felt good about what I tried to give them.
I loved it. I thought it was great.
And I hope
oh my God.
that for them, that they saw, that's what I said, I was trying to leaning into the feeling that I had.
Yeah.
While I was delivering
Feed them some of your emotion.
Because I wanted...
It's like an emotional line delivery.
My kid was standing there, and I looked at him, and I was thinking and putting myself there, and I go, "Oh, this is how you get into this character."
So it was
also
this in the future.
It was also good for me,
yeah,
to tell them that, and then feel that way, and go, "Oh, that's how I get to that place." Because I look at people that need to cry on camera.
Now you can bring that catharsis into your art.
Yeah. And it's always been hard for me to see that, and I've never had the opportunity to do that. And I still, right now, after having said that I learned that from myself, how to get there, because you have to push yourself up to that point. And calling an emotional state, I think, is a difficult thing to do as an actor. But in my method of acting, the way I do it, I make myself that person, and I put myself, why does that person that I'm playing say that thing the way they say it, or act the way they act in the film, or on the set?
That's so interesting, because I am the opposite.
I have to be the person.
I have to do the things that make it look like I'm going through that.
And I take
yeah.
script, and I go, okay, I'm Detective Brenner.
Yep.
And I have experiences where I'm able to take what's on the page, even though they're different, and go, I need one piece of this to be real. Absolutely realistic to my life. Something I've actually done. Take this character and pull one piece out and go, I remember one time when I was on vacation, and we went to this place and I did this thing, and I had to figure this thing out. And I was really looking for clues, or I was really upset because I couldn't find my kid, or or I was really pissed off because I felt like fucking I got ditched or whatever, right? Whatever emotion you need, I take the page and then go, which part of this is me?
So if we made Street Toughs today and you're doing that monologue,
dude,
what's funny?
I have so much.
That's all about work.
I have so much more emotional ammunition for that I probably would cry if I did that one now. Because I'm a deeper person now than I was then. That was a long time ago.
Yeah, and you even know, like, comparisons, too. Like, I know this emotion is not this emotion that I'm playing, but I know they have a similar effect on the audience. So I've never been through this, but I've been through this, and I can recall that, and it'll still have the same effect on the audience.
Yeah.
Well, we were like early 30s, right? Making that.
Yeah.
And me and Greg have been making stuff in our 20s and shit like that. And now we're like pushing 40. and we can actually, and Greg's mentioned this before, play these characters
that we've
age
been playing
appropriate.
before, yeah. You know.
But I was thinking, like, because I'm watching Street Toughs, and I'm like, man, I basically ended Weed in his first appearance because you ditched the club.
Right.
Sure.
At the end of that movie, near the end. But then I keep bringing you back, still in the club, or coming back in the club.
It's like Opie, like, yeah, he's kind of out, kind of in, kind of in, kind of out.
Oh, sure, on Sons of Anarchy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, anyway.
That's why it'd be fun to like have a whole Secret Productions universe timeline of this is where this movie fits specifically in the timeline.
Well, I've made that before, and it's tough to be, like, script-wise, because, like, our script's canon until you make them.
Yeah.
Right? Just the movies are canon. So, like, Midnight Bloodshed and Savage, like, are pre-Street Toughs, right?
Right.
What's the term? Retcon?
Retcon. I mean, there's a little bit of retconning going on for Friday the 13th with Midnight Bloodshed, but...
Yeah. But it's like you like the character, you like them in this point in time in their life in that situation, so you bring them back, but it's like, okay, well, now that means that it has to be before this happens in Boop or Stone or whatever's life, you know?
Well, yeah, and then I make new detectives, right?
Yeah.
And, like, Street Meets Pavement. In God's Salt, Jones and Black are a thing, right? But that happens before Street Meets Pavement. There's no Black in Street Meets Pavement, right? In my movie Reno After Dark, I fix some of that continuity. I even bring Weed into that movie in Reno After Dark.
Lauren Billings.
Lauren Billings, good old Weed.
Good old Weed.
Oh, man. Weed almost gets... Or, no. Jones almost gets fucking... Like, fucked in the ass in that movie.
By whom?
By the...
Kitchen.
No. By whatever that
He's
guy...
got no
The,
gear
whatever the
left.
bad guy's name is in that. Right? Because Cheese tries to sell Jones to this guy, and he doesn't know it's a cop, but Weed saves him because Weed's there. That's the movie I want to make, either a puppet movie or or an animated movie.
Yeah, something that we can control everything about. Yeah.
Yes. So we'll. I guess that's.
It's a great.
That's a life.
I
Life
don't.
in a day.
I don't
life in an
know
hour.
if we're gonna sit down and podcast again.
Well, you know what? We're in the 21st century, so regardless of where any of us live,
Yeah.
we're all friends.
We podcasted while you were in Denver.
And
Yes, we did.
I don't think it would be that difficult for us to get some decent microphones at each of our houses and put a podcast together. I know it's not the same. It's not the same.
The energy is not there.
But we are the same guys, and we can still do it. And there are such a things as airplanes.
Yeah.
I'm not making promises on how close we're going to get to you. Would be fun though to do a little ditty on site to the new location and do something.
Yeah.
Regardless of how long
I
it
wrote
takes.
that fantasy movie.
Philippine Go.
Go.
I need to get a passport.
And I have one. And it's not like, you're going to be banned from the U.S. You'll always have a home here.
Sure.
And you'll always have some place to stay.
And after World War III or Civil War II, it'll be easier.
Yeah. 'Cause, we'll have to go back to hand crank 8mm.
Yeah. So,
Making topics.
this could be one of the final of this season or batch of sequel podcasts. So, I'm trying to wrap up with everybody, I guess. I got you both together.
Yeah, happy circumstance.
In
Yeah.
like 5 years, I think. So
It's fun to rap for an hour.
that's sequel podcast for this week. I'm at Bonta.
I'm Gregory Klino.
I'm Cory Easley.
Because he's easily.
We'll be back.
Peace out, I guess. I don't know.